A simple task can stall for days, not because anyone is avoiding it, but because no one is certain who owns it. This common frustration isn't a sign of a failing team. It's a predictable outcome of how organizations must change as they grow.
It feels like it should be the opposite. Adding more people to a project ought to make things clearer and faster, yet it often creates more ambiguity. The reason for this lies in the necessary structural changes that occur as a team scales.
In a small team, ownership is often direct and intuitive. When a task arises, it's usually clear who is responsible for it. The link between an individual's effort and the team's outcome is easy to see.
This highlights a key shift. In a small team, accountability tends to be direct, and each person's work is highly visible. As the organization gets larger, accountability often becomes shared, and it gets harder to see the impact of any single person's contribution.
This shift isn't a mistake. It's a necessary adaptation. To manage the growing complexity of more people and more work, a more formal structure becomes essential. The informal ways of a small team just don't work anymore.
The process of creating the structure often follows a clear pattern. Team members who once had generalist roles begin to develop specialized skills. Over time, these specialized roles are grouped together into formal departments, each designed to handle a specific function.
And this structure, while essential for managing scale, also creates unintended consequences. These natural side effects are what begin to blur the once clear lines of ownership.
The first consequence appears when responsibility for a task is shared among several people. When multiple individuals could potentially act, a new dynamic takes hold. The pressure on any one person to take action is reduced. Since others are also available to respond, it becomes easy to assume someone else will step up. This behavior was illustrated in a communications study that shows how the presence of others can affect an individual's response.
In the study, a participant listened in on what they believed was a group discussion. During the session, they heard another person experience a medical emergency and call for help.
The key variable was the participant's belief about who else heard the call. In one scenario, they were led to believe they were the only person listening.
In this case, with the responsibility resting entirely on them, 85% of the participants went to get help. In another scenario, the participant was told that 4 other people were also in the group and could hear the same call for help.
The result was a significant drop. With the responsibility now shared among 5 listeners, only 31% of participants responded.
This chart demonstrates a clear pattern. As the number of potential responders goes up, the likelihood of any single one of them acting goes down. The sense of individual responsibility becomes distributed across the group.
A related effect has to do with the visibility of individual work. In larger teams and on bigger projects, it's just harder to connect a specific result back to one person's effort.
So that direct link between personal effort and the final outcome weakens. When an individual's contribution is one of many, its perceived importance to the project's success can diminish.
So how does this affect an individual's effort? This change in visibility tends to produce 2 predictable responses. First, a person may conclude their contribution isn't essential. From their viewpoint, the project's success or failure doesn't seem to depend on their maximum effort, because so many others are also contributing.
Second, a person might adjust their effort to match the perceived average of the group. This behavior is a response to the environment, aligning their work with the observable norm.
These individual responses are reinforced by the larger organizational structure, particularly by the creation of formal departments. A department is, by definition, a group organized around a specialized function.
Each of these departments naturally develops its own way of working. They adopt unique goals that align with their specific function, use specialized tools optimized for their tasks, and follow distinct processes to achieve their objectives.
And while this specialization is very efficient for work inside a department, it has a major side effect. Information gets siloed. For instance, the engineering department understands technical constraints that the marketing department doesn't, and the marketing department has customer data that engineering never sees. This makes it incredibly difficult to coordinate tasks that require shared ownership across these teams.
Ultimately, the system isn't broken. It's working as designed to manage scale. To do this, it stops optimizing for the simple clarity of a small team and instead trades that clarity for the complex coordination needed to run a much larger operation.